So we're going to start off today with a question by John Sousa. And he wrote, Dear Sat Shree, as I mentioned recently, I rarely have a question when I raise my hand to come up to the hot seat. There's usually a strong pull to come forward and at the same time, strong resistance. It is often difficult to speak, but I somehow manage. This last time I noticed a strong desire to place my heart at your feet, to look into your eyes, to simply be with you. You mentioned to me during my first retreat that I had come to be with you to know the love that I am. This feels so true and ignites tremendous longing. Sometimes after coming forward, I experience what I call the rubber band effect, which is like a contraction so deep and fierce and painful. It usually doesn't last more than a few hours or days at the most. Harshness, self-judgment, and anger are often a part of it. Is this something that will just keep happening indefinitely each time I expand or step through a threshold? There is a strong sense of my humanness being dragged along in the process. With so much love and gratitude, John.
Okay, thank you, John. I see you in our crowd. And, you know, in one way, it's all of us to discover the love we already are. But of course, we have to deal with all the non-love we have for ourselves first. So the process of purification is the immersion in the non-loving parts of ourselves, which have self-hate and projection and shame and diminishment and judgment. And then, of course, it's compensating structure, which here goes outward, which is fear, projection, anger, resentment, all the rest. So, yeah, this is the territory. And it's my experience we have to travel all the territory. It is the nature of the Gita's path, is that it is the meeting of that which is not aligned with the awakening process that we're engaged in. And it's a constant introduction to parts of ourselves we didn't want to be with or didn't know how to be with. And part of this is the power of all this teaching is to give you a context. So the context is there's dark and light, and that the progress that we can make is proportional to not only how much darkness we meet, but how much light becomes available to us. It's my experience, at least certainly those who are aligned with me in this force, that the darkness is the path to more light, because that quality of our relationship goes and allows you to immerse into that part of yourself in such a way that it dissolves it more rapidly. But then, of course, you get overtaken by it for a period of time. And as John, you said, it's a relatively short period of time. It's not something that goes on and perpetuates and feeds on itself, because it's a burning of the layer of samskara that creates the negativity or creates the darkness within you. So it's inevitable. And of course, what happens when you interact with me is you partake in my state. And the threshold is like getting on a roller coaster ride, you know? It is this anxiety, fear will rise up because your consciousness is lifting up to meet me. When you meet me, a grace is given. It's given because you're matching some degree of what I'm communicating. And so you're lifted into another quality of being, which then immediately shows you what's left. And that's how it works. This opportunity to be lifted is also an opportunity to empower you to do the meaning of that which cannot sustain or hold that lifting. So yes, it'll follow you on the path until that which lifts and that which falls merges into that which you are. That which is bound and that which is free merges. These two principles of the Sat and the Asat coming together. This is not a theory. This is an actual fact. And then there comes a deep peace, a deep serenity that can hold both, not undoing either. The high spiritual states or the low human states become relatively equal. And what's before you is the action aligned with your purpose. And that is what is the key here. The purpose isn't just for you to know love, to know you are love, but for you to manifest love. So the process of holding your own limitations of loving is exactly what empowers you to become useful, aligned with that purpose. All right, so there you have that piece. And I do like questions that are directly related to your own trying to recognize or have a context. And this is probably why it's good for Adi Shakti to say, is it's one thing to have the applied science of the work. It's another thing to really integrate it and understand it. So experiencing is enriched by understanding, just like understanding is enriched by experience. So these questions feed the understanding or the context. And why? Because as Gita says, the intelligence, the mind, can become collaborators in holding the context for why you're in our relationship and what is happening to you and how to be with that. These are the essential questions, themes of questions about how to ride. It's not that there isn't something happening. It's how to recognize what it is, how to be aligned with it as a conscious collaboration, a choice, a surrender. And then what is the context? What is the ultimate outcome? There you're looking at the purpose. And it's going to be the end of you as you know yourself, but the growth of something that you already were before that what you knew before came in play. So it's a returning to your original nature. There you have it.